Ladies and gentlemen, the big man is back. I'm also here as well. Welcome to Talking Reds. My name is Mo Stewart. I'm very pleased to be joined by Ian Salmon. Ian, it's been a while since we've done a show together.
It has been probably COVID since we've done a show together. Yeah. It's been that long. It's fantastic to be back. Great to see you. And thank you for the lovely introduction. I never saw that one coming.
Well, you see, I like to give everyone a nice little shout out, a nice little boost in the morning.
I feel like I've been comforted since the show now. I feel welcome, and you don't get that from Robbo.
Well, I mean, you get plenty of other things from Robbo you won't get from me. But we're a broad church here at the Anfield Wrap, I think it's fair to say. Now, the other reason why I did that nice little intro, because it's a nice segue into one of the things we will be talking about. It's the return of the other big man, which is Virgil van Dijk. It looks like he might be playing some part in our next friendly. We're also going to be talking about Xherdan Shaqiri, because it's been announced recently that he is actively looking to leave and there are clubs circling around him. Now, we're live here on YouTube, so we're going to get some comments. I haven't got my laptop, but I have my phone, and I'm hoping that it's going to allow me to see all of your questions. So the question I'm putting to you for this show is around Shaqiri. There are 4 clubs who are all looking like they're wanting to buy him. I think the ones named are Sevilla, Villarreal, Lazio, and Napoli.
Yeah.
So if you were Shaqiri's agent, where are you telling him to go? That's the question. Where would you think he would fit best? Where would he be able to show his unique talents to the world the best? So have a little bit of a think about that. Put some comments in and we'll diverge into it later. But first up, let's talk Virgil. Now, as I said, it looks like he's going to be playing 20 minutes or so, according to Jurgen Klopp. Not a full game.
Quite rightly.
But it looks like Virgil van Dijk's going to be pulling on a Liverpool shirt and playing football. That's great.
This is fantastic news. This is absolutely brilliant. As soon as I saw that he was going to 20 minutes, I was like, this is what we need. We just need him back. And then seeing footage on Sky, I had a bit of an insomnia thing last night. I was awake at 4 o'clock this morning playing FIFA and watching Sky.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. It was completely unplanned. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm wide awake. What shall I think about? I'll think about football. So the idea, I saw the injury again. And you forget how horrendous the injury was.
It really was.
You forget the agony. He was actually in agony as he was falling. You see his face, he's falling in slow motion, and the lad is in a huge amount of pain. And it hits you again exactly how bad this injury's been, and that we have missed him for 9 months. It's been 9 pretty seismic months. And the idea that we get him tomorrow night, I don't even know what day we're on anymore. Thursday night.
Yes.
Thursday night. I've been thrown off by the fact I'm live. I've completely gone to pieces. I haven't done a live show in years.
I was going to say, after all of your experience in plays and on the boards, I thought you'd be perfect at live shows.
No. I sit in the audience. I just watch this stuff. The idea that he's pulling on the shirt for 20 minutes, that he'll be on the field, is fantastic because we need him back. We need the alternatives. Equally fantastic is the fact that Joe, or Joey, as Klopp is now calling him, Joe Gomez is going to be back shortly as well. So all of a sudden, as James Milner said, from last year when we had no centre-backs, we've now got this absolute wealth of world-class centre-backs. I don't think Virgil's going to start the season. No. The way they're setting up at the moment, it doesn't look like Virgil will start the season, barring any misfortune, and I don't want to invite any misfortune at all, because we've had far too much of that. It certainly looks like it'll be Canate and Matip starting the season, especially the way that Canate's playing on the left of defence. It looks like he's playing the Virgil position for the moment. Yeah. So it looks like they'll ease him into the season, which is the most sensible thing on earth you can do. And if you can ease the world's second most expensive?
No,
did
second.
Maguire,
yeah,
second.
Maguire.
Didn't he pay more for Maguire just on principle of having paid more?
They pay more for Maguire on the principle of Leicester having people who are competent at their job.
Yes, yeah. and having to appear like they knew what they were doing themselves. Look how important we are. The world's best central defender on the bench to ease in for the first few games and to be there for when we really need to hit head of steam is a fantastic thing.
It really is. And I think you made an interesting point there about how it looks like Canate and Matip are being set up to start, because we have to allow ourselves a little bit of time to get carried away about seeing him back, because it's been a long time and he's been through a lot, as you say. Yeah. But he's not back yet. I feel like these 20 minutes is a reward for him for how well he's been doing in his rehab. He's kept his head down, he's kept working, and it's a really tough road. We've seen it from other players before when you're coming back, particularly at a time when his teammates are suffering without him. So he needs that little reward, that little pick-me-up to say, look, you're on the road to recovery. And
yeah,
I think
he needs to feel what it's like to be on the pitch again.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he'll have completely missed that himself as well.
Yeah,
and there's been this weird sort of ladder between the two, where a couple of months ago we were talking about the fact that Joe was further ahead than Virgil was. So obviously the work he's put in since has pushed him along the line of where they expected him to be.
Yeah, and I like the fact in a strange way that they've had each other through this, because it makes you think that they already had a very strong bond. You can tell that from the way they are around each other, just not on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. But that can have only got stronger over this period of time. And the fact that they've been, like you say, they've been racing each other a little bit, it's probably been so much more fun for them, probably giving Jurgen kittens though.
Yes, it's the kind of thing you don't want to see people actually pushing themselves too far after that kind of injury. But as I said, Virgil's talked openly about how important they've been to each other over this period, and they have actually supported each other through it. I think that's the kind of thing you really need. We know that Oxlade-Chamberlain did it with Brewster a couple of seasons ago, so you need a mate next to you, because otherwise this rehabilitation is a very, very lonely process.
I mean, it is a weird quirk of the fact that Liverpool's injury crisis, we've actually found some positive from it, and everyone gets an injury buddy. But there we are. That's how it is. I mean, as I say, Thursday against Hertha Berlin, I imagine it's going to be very much an ease out. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see if he plays with the youngsters, or whether they try to put some more experienced players around him, particularly just so he hasn't got to overexert himself. But I just can't wait to see him out there. The first time there's a corner, and I'm going to be hearing Robbo somewhere going, "Chill, lad." Whether or not he's going to go up and head it in, I don't know. But just to know that it's happening somewhere is going to warm my heart.
I really don't want to see him jumping unnecessarily at the moment.
Well, there is that. I mean, this is the other thing.
I got a bit worried. You said corner. I thought, no. Just stay at the back for a bit. It'll be fine.
We should probably address that. The fact that there is going to be an element of kind of pleasure and pain in watching Virgil and Joe, and probably Joel, for the initial part of the season, because
you are going to worry it's going to happen again.
Yes,
because we have actually seen this happen with Oxlade-Chamberlain already. The injuries you have lead to other injuries. We know this always happens in football, but these are the people we least want it to happen to.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a reality what it looks like without Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, and frankly, it's not for me.
No.
So
I took against it quite quickly myself.
Down with this sort of thing. So Jurgen is going to be absolutely making sure that everything that they can do to prevent that, they will. And I think personally, that played a part in getting Konate over the line so quickly.
Yes.
Getting him in at the very beginning of pre-season, allowing him to build up relationships not only with Matip, as it looks like he's going to be his partner, but everybody in the squad and in the team. Like, I don't know if you saw the picture of him and Robbo in their robes.
Yes, in the robes.
That was so cute.
Yeah.
But it's like,
somebody comments, and the scary thing is Robbo's 6'4".
Yeah, it's like, what? But I mean, we kind of can laugh at those things sometimes, because obviously they're great for PR and what have you, and views and what have you. But there is an underlying meaning here. He is being accepted into this group.
Yeah.
He is beginning to express himself in his own personality. I mean, how much of him have you been able to see knocking around the place? What are your initial impressions?
I've not seen a huge amount of him. I've been, once I saw the agenda this morning, I watched a little bit of the footage from pre-season, because, as I've said a million times, I never watch pre-season. They're not real games. It's just lads training. I'm not that bothered by it, to be honest. And it costs me money. So, even though apparently with my season ticket, it's half price for Liverpool TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still haven't gone for it.
Still not.
Not helped by my Evertonian wife, who wouldn't be overly pleased if it was on the telly.
Ooh, I mean, this is the thing with pre-season, isn't it? It's the time really when everyone's kind of saying, we're not really going to watch football, because we know that for the rest of the year it's going to be wall to wall. So you're kind of having to make a few compromises around this one, I think. Yeah,
but I think in terms of what I've seen of Konate from this, he looks very calm, very assured. He's got a decent enough passing range. He seems to be keeping it quite simple at the moment. A couple of long balls, willing to take the ball up the field, which I spent about 3 years going, Joel, just stop. Just please don't do this. This is terrifying. Now, with the two of them potentially doing it at the same time, that could be wonderfully terrifying.
I mean, I love it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love everything about Joel Matip. I think he's just one of those characters that I'm so glad he's plays for our team.
He's got better and better.
He has.
He's shown that the last full season, so the league winning season, he was absolutely majestic. His performance was incredible. And they tend to be dismissed because people think of him as our third or fourth choice centre back. He wasn't. He was first choice in that right hand slot for quite a while.
He was. And it's weird when you think about a Liverpool career and its peaks and troughs and the way the perception of players changes over time.
Yeah.
He is a really good indicator of that, because there were times in the darker days when he was being partnered with Lovren and it wasn't working as well, that it looked like you couldn't get 2 good games out of him.
No.
And now I'm hearing people talking about he's potentially a central midfield option if you want to give Fabinho a rest sometimes. I mean,
I've not seen that.
Oh man, and it's like you look at it. I was just like,
yeah, I could see that.
I could see that, and that in
Tall,
itself.
skinny lad at number 6.
Yeah,
this could work.
and the way he can glide through the pitch, we know he's got passing range.
Yeah.
He has got deceptive pace, and we know
Yes.
he can tackle. So,
And he reads the game brilliantly.
I mean, anyway, I don't know if this is all pre-season, got us all thinking.
It could just be pre-season hysteria. I'm willing to go with it at the moment. At the moment, it's kind of like, okay, so we don't need a new number 6. That'll do for me. That saved a few bob that we can spend all that up
I
here.
mean, we know that there's not Jurgen loves nothing better than giving someone a new position in pre-season.
Yeah.
It's like his joy. It's almost like his own Christmas present to himself.
It's like, oh, Harvey, you're Coutinho this week. Yeah. Brilliant. But to answer your original question, Canate, I like everything I've seen about the lad. He seems supremely confident. The one word that springs to mind immediately is joy. I think we're going to get a lot of joy from this lad, because he seems to approach everything with a sense of happiness, and he just exudes this content and calm, and I think he's going to be brilliant for us.
I do too. I can't wait to see him. Someone else who really looks like he's exuding fun a lot of the time when he's on the pitch is Shaqiri. I bring him up because it appears in the era of the power cube is coming to an end.
Yeah.
He, according to reports from some Italian newspapers, he has made it clear and open that he does want to move on for a new challenge this summer. It appears to be the right time for everybody, I think, in terms of how useful he has been or potentially will continue to be for us. And now it looks like there are clubs interested. Maybe off the back of his run at the Euros, it seems like the right time that his value's rising again. Yeah,
well, in fairness, it looked like he would move last summer because he hadn't really featured a huge amount, as I remember, in the league winning season. He seems to be out of favour. He seems to be injured for quite a while. His performance in the Euros for Switzerland, he was obviously absolutely excellent for them. That's one of those where you go, Switzerland. Was it Switzerland? Yeah, Switzerland. Yeah. Your head's good. It wasn't Switzerland, you know. You're live on this and you're talking nonsense again, and there goes the mic pack. And the fact that he's come to this point where he actually wants to play football on a regular basis, he wants first team football, is only right. The lad's, 29 now?
Yes.
This is the end path of his career. You won't be playing all the time. You don't want to be an impact sub.
No.
So he's done himself good by obviously his performances. His value will have risen. So it's good business for everybody.
I think so. And it's a strange one because sometimes you wonder how players look back on their own individual careers at clubs. I mean, when it comes to when he'll do his farewell video, I'm sure they'll reel off the trophies that he's won at the club, and it is a ridiculous number of trophies. He basically won everything in a
space of 18 months.
Pretty much in the space of 18 months. But I mean, I think it's 3 seasons he was with the club, and he's I think only made something around 65, 70 appearances.
Yes.
So it's not been a lot of times, but he's had enough magic moments that he will be able to dine off of it. I mean, he's going to be one of those guys who keeps coming back. He's the new Vladimir Smits or someone like that, or Luis Garcia even, who's going to keep coming back, and he's going to be welcomed every time he does. Completely.
Well, the fact that he put the ball in onto Gini's head against Barcelona, that's your career paid for there. It is one of those where you do wonder when they've been involved at that level in those tournaments, how you actually feel about the competition win, because you know that it doesn't happen without that ball.
Yeah.
But do you really feel like you own the win in the end?
There
It's a
are
hard one.
there are more times when you're watching on than when you're
Yeah.
involved. And when someone tells the story of the win, your name's going to be mentioned, but it might only be mentioned once.
Yeah, it's like Roger Hunt in 1966.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about the fact that Roger Hunt was in the entire competition in the
No,
World Cup.
except
and
every Liverpool
crucial.
fan you'll ever meet over
Yes.
the age of a certain
Yeah.
amount.
and points out that he should have also actually been knighted rather than just knighted by us.
Exactly.
Slightly off the subject.
Well, we're allowed it. But in terms of Shaqiri, as we've mentioned, his career is coming to an end, and he has got a few suitors from Spain and Italy, it looks like, at the moment. The good thing about that is that this is a summer where how much we sell players for seems to
Yes.
be mattering more than it has done in previous years. So the fact that there's these 4 clubs, I mean, Lazio have been probably the one who's been in the hunt for him the longest of those 4. So they'd probably want to be putting themselves at the front of the queue. But I mean, it looks like we're going to get a decent amount. What's your minimum number that you would accept for him?
Well, we just sold Harry Wilson for 12 million, who hasn't played at the level that Shaqiri has.
No.
So, given that, I assume he's in the last year of his contract now, so it's not going to be high, but you've got to talk about him as a £15 million sale,
I think so.
which makes a little bit of profit on the 12 million that we paid for him, and we've had 4 years service. So, you know, it's a good deal. You're getting a player of his ability for 15 million. That's a fantastic deal for the buying club, because he has shown repeatedly what he can do. Now, he doesn't necessarily do everything the Jurgen wants, because his tracking back and defending isn't necessarily as thorough as the manager might want, and he has displayed this by holding them at half-time.
Yes.
And that's really weird. You know, when you hear yourself going, half-time, that's a really weird way of saying that. So holding them at half-time in one of the games. I'm reviewing myself before the comments do.
So you can see yourself on my phone screen. That's what it is, isn't it? It's freaking you out.
Really freaking me out, because I can see myself, and I'm like a couple of seconds behind. So I'm sitting here talking like that, but on there I'm going like that. It's really, really odd.
So yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah, you just put your hand over to stop it distracting you. No, I think you're getting a player who's got a huge amount of talent. I think in Italy or Spain, the pace of the game compared to the Premiership will really hugely benefit him, because he'll be able to dictate play. So I think it's a good move for everybody. Wish the lad nothing but well.
I think so too. I think it's another new frontier for him. He's played in Italy, he's played in Germany, he's played in England now. So might be nice for him to get a bit of nice Spanish sun for the end of his career. So let's see what you guys have had to say on this particular matter. John McLean's said, beautiful Napoli. I don't know if that's where he wants Shaqiri to go or whether that's where he wants to go himself, but to be fair, everything I've heard of Naples sounds like it's a pretty nice place to go, so I'm sure he wouldn't be upset if he ended up there. Rudy's made some sense here. It says probably Napoli after Sevilla signed Eric Lamela recently, and Lazio re-signed Felipe Anderson. God knows why.
I didn't even realise that happened.
yeah, that had happened. And also he mentions that his massive legs and beautiful hairline will be adored in Napoli, and that is very true. I feel like Napoli fans, particularly if they've got Shaqiri on one side and Lorenzo Insigne on the other side, they're going to have some fun.
Yeah, they're going to have an interesting time.
Double trouble. Oh, well, John McLean's also giving you a bit of stick for having an Evertonian wife here, Ian. So
Fair enough, yeah. I've got to be honest, I'm punching so far above my weight, it's unbelievable, but yeah. I'm certainly the winner in this situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I don't know your wife that well, but I can conclude that she is definitely the winner.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's plenty of options for Shaqiri. It looks like we're going to get some nice money for him. So the question is, who are we going to spend that money on?
Oh, that's a lovely question, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Somebody I don't expect, basically. I would love... I'm kind of going against a lot I've said over the last few years, but I would love if post the Super League fiasco, post-COVID, just as a business sense, as much as anything, I would love to see FSG actually put money into the club and go out, and if he would move to us, buy Mbappe.
Yeah.
obviously, same as everybody else, I would love to see Mbappe in a red shirt. I think it's the time for FSG to go, well, you know what? We need the younger players. We need a talisman who can sell things for us worldwide. Mm-hmm. We need the TV money that would bring in, the deal with Nike, whoever, Redbird, whatever. As a business deal, the idea of signing Mbappe makes nothing but absolute perfect sense for Liverpool, and they should be pushing everything they can for him because they will make that money back long term. I don't think we're going to. Feeling this morning seems to be, and again, it's paper talk, and I don't like to trust paper talk because it is the middle of the summer and people need to get their clicks. That the 50 million the United are about to give Real for Varane will go towards Mbappe.
I mean, they're going to need to put some more to that.
They'll have to add a little bit to it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they might have to reach down the back of the sofa for a few more euros.
I'm sure Real will find spare cash somewhere.
It's an interesting point, though. I mean, I think one of the things I wanted to touch on, because you mentioned Real Madrid, so I wanted to talk about the idea of Rafa Varane going to Manchester United for a fee that looks pretty cheap when you compare it to the level of elite play that he's been able to consistently put in for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And you do wonder, there are a lot of clubs that are in financial issues who are having to make deals that they know are bad deals for themselves. They know they're bad deals. They know they're having to basically cut off their own arms there.
Specifically Barcelona,
but also Real Madrid. And you get to a point where you see, if you're a club who's run yourself well, then you could take advantage of these things. And I think the idea that Liverpool have always tried to be a club who runs themselves well makes me think that there are a lot of people, the frustration is, well, we work so hard to put ourselves in this position to be the nicely well-run club. Yeah. Why can't we now take advantage of these guys who are messing up?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where it is. Obviously, there are lots of other reasons for that. I'm not a financial expert, as anyone who's seen my clothes will be able to tell you. But I think that's some of the feeling, isn't it? It's like, why can't we take advantage of their stupidity?
Yeah, but there is at the same time, we do have to deal with the homegrown player rule now. We have to deal with the wages level of the team. And if you're looking at signing an Mbappe, then as important as we would find him to us, he will know how important he is, and his team will know how important he is worldwide in terms of profile, in terms of ability, in terms of what he can bring to you both as a footballing identity and as a commercial enterprise. They know what they can demand, and if what he can demand breaks our wage structure, because if what he demands is, say, $500,000 a week after tax, which is a realistic figure for a lot of footballers now, then you've got people who are already in the team who are going, well, hold on, look what I've done for the team already. And they will want that, and it can create disharmony. And ultimately, we've seen teams, we saw the best example of this ever is Leeds, when they got rid of David O'Leary to bring in a more experienced manager to take them the next step to win the Champions League, and they spent the next decade and a bit in lower divisions. And that was because of the folly of their spending, basically.
Well, there's a lot that goes on in the top level of football. There's a lot more risk than we probably realise, and it gets played out in those kind of situations. But
it's the level where you have to stop thinking of it as football and start thinking of it as business.
Yeah. I mean, this is a whole other conversation we'll probably do on a completely different show. In fact, this is a nice little segue into the fact that I personally am going to be recording another edition of the Gutter Show this evening, the award-winning Gutter Show, where I'm sure if Rob has his way, Kylian Mbappe will get mentioned. So if you're a subscriber, watch out for that. If you're not a subscriber, we've had quite a few good free shows out recently. There was one yesterday in particular that I implore all of you to watch. It's regarding the situation around Gini Wijnaldum. There's lots out there. It's a free show, as I said, so I haven't really wanted to retread many steps of that on this show. Again, I feel like this is one of the situations that anyone who's paid attention to me over the course of the last 4 or 5 years I've been on the Anfield Wrap can probably guess how I feel about the situation. But if you're still unsure of how you feel about the situation, watch that video, definitely. I think that's all I will say on that matter.
Yeah, I was listening to it in the car on the way in, listening to the first half hour or so. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I agree with everybody on it. Everybody that was on the panel said that's Stu, Ian, Harriet and Gibbo all came from exactly the same point that I'd been coming from, and I agree with every single one of them. And it says a lot about. There's a lot to be said about the state of the world in general and how that bleeds into social media. And I agree with everything Jeannie said.
I do. And I also want to give a particular shout out to Ian, because sometimes it's hard to admit when your initial reaction was wrong, but he did.
Yeah.
So fair play to him. So I want to end on a little bit of a positivity. Any of you out there who are not having the greatest of days or are worried about anything, I implore you to go onto the internet and watch the video of Tom Dean's family watching him win an Olympic gold medal this morning, because I tell you what, it will give you life.
It's the best thing ever, isn't it? It's just all the footage that the media, because I was watching it when we got up, and all the footage that the media gave you of England fans celebrating in the little England enclaves and the beer going up. This shows you how far that was away from being anything at all. This is personal, and it's all about love, and it's all about the absolute support. And yeah, I don't watch a great deal of the Olympics, but seeing what Tom Daley and Matty Lee yesterday, what they achieved is absolutely incredible. I've forgotten the lad's name already from this morning. Tom Dean. Seeing what he's achieved, it's that individual achievement where you've given your entire life to doing this, and the payoff is what you see on that video.
Yes, and also a shout out to everyone watching from Bermuda. I'm sure you guys are all still having a very good time over Flora Duffy. So there we are. That was the Anfield Wrap today. Probably a little bit longer than everyone else around here would want. But hey, that's what we do. Thank you for watching, Ian. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you very much.
See you again.